Good morning and welcome back to the channel and another AliExpress mountain bike modification video. So in today's video we're going to be replacing the rear shock absorber. This is it here, and guess what? Shock horror, this is going to be 15mm longer than the original. I know, absolutely scandalous. Now, I've only been messing about with mountain bikes and returned to bicycles for about the past 3 years after a 30-year break. But in that time, I did a lot of work on motorcycles. In that time, we've probably played with most things. We've fitted, longer shock absorbers to give it that more aggressive stance, or for taller riders. Shorter shock absorbers for shorter riders, so they can touch the floor. Stiffer shock absorbers for heavier people, so they're not bottoming out the shock absorbers all the time. We've also lengthened swinging arms, lengthened forks, turned road bikes into off-road bikes into on-road bikes, you name it, we've played around with it. But I can honestly say in all that time, I have never seen so much blowback over something as simple and mundane as a bicycle and changing the length of the rear shock absorber. I've got to say to some of you biker guys out there, you really get your Leica in a twist over this subject. So after my rear shock absorber started to fail, there's a bit of oil coming out of it. It's a very basic shock absorber. It gave me an excuse to upgrade it and put a better one on, and I had a good look around and I saw there was a few which were a bit longer, and I thought, well, a bit longer is going to be great for me. It'll jack up the back of the bike a bit, give me a bit more ground clearance. It'll also give me a little bit more travel, so there's less chance, hopefully, of it bottoming out, make it a bit smoother ride. So I did my research and looked at all the blogs and everything, and I could tell you, God, like I said, people really get their Leica in a twist about this one. There are several concerns, 3 major ones. The first one is a warranty concern. The second one was really sort of a clearance one, the wheel's going to be hitting the seat and all this sort of thing. And then the other one is just basic geometry, it's going to destroy your frame and all this sort of thing. So I don't really go with a lot of that, but that's quickly just run through these, these 3 subjects. Okay, so let's first just address the issue of the warranty. Obviously, if you spent a lot of money on the bike, the last thing you want to be doing is doing anything that, are told to the bike to give them an excuse to get out of, sort of honouring the warranty. And I use the word excuse because, let's face it, that's what it is. If you spent a fortune on a bike, it should be able to, sort of take everything barring some real extreme modifications without it affecting the frame. If not, at the end of the day, what the hell are you paying for? All that money and the frame won't take a bit of modification, or the bike won't take a bit of modification. That really isn't on. So obviously it is something you've got to think about. And like I say, if you spent a lot of money on the bike, common sense should tell you, although I've got to say, if you've spent close on to the same amount as a good second-hand car on a bicycle, the common sense ship has probably sold and got over the horizon by now. You really do need to consider the warranty and think what you're doing before you do any modifications. And I suspect the obvious answer is, if you do modifications and you have a problem, you want to keep all the old bits you've taken off, put them back on the bike before you even think of contacting the manufacturer. So yeah, first sort of concern over, warranty is a genuine concern. If you spent a lot of money on your bike, you certainly don't want to be voiding that warranty, and it is something to contemplate. And I think also, if you spent a lot of money on the bike, chances are you should really have all these sort of trick bits already as standard on the bike. The last thing you want to do is spend all that money on it and then having to spend on accessories and extra bits for it. Really, I don't think it's really going to be an issue at the top end of the bicycle range. So second concern is clearances. Well, obviously, yeah, this is something you've got to consider. But in reality then, a well-made mountain bike should have adequate clearances. It's an off-road vehicle, and you don't want to be cutting it right down to the last millimetre, or we're going to have the clearance, oh yeah, that's all right, that clears by a couple of millimetres, that's going to be all right. So in reality, a well-made mountain bike should have bags of clearance, and putting, say, a 15mm longer shock on it really shouldn't make any difference. I mean, obviously, if you've got a standard, say, for instance, a 165mm shock and you're going up to a 210 or something, yeah, you're going to experience problems. That's quite extreme. But just for short, subtle changes, like which I believe a 50mm one is, it really shouldn't make any difference. Your bike should be well designed, with plenty of clearance to accept that shock absorber. But in a minute, we're going to have a look and see if that turns out to be true. So third concern is general geometry. Well, yeah, it probably will change the geometry a little bit on your bike, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be for the worse, it's going to be for the better, Yes, I get that the manufacturers have tested all these bikes and everything, and they probably think they've got it up to the optimum thing, but have they tested it with individual riders? This is going to change for different heights of riders, different weights of riders, and different types of riding you're doing with a bike. There's a whole range of different types of off-road riding you're doing with a mountain bike, which can't be sort of taken into consideration in a generically built production bike. So yeah, it is going to change it a bit. Is it going to change how the bike feels? Well, I bloody hope so. You know, we've just changed the shock absorber, so it needs to feel different. That's the whole reason we're changing it. Whether it's going to be for the better, for the worse, I've got to think it's going to be better if it's an uprated shock absorber, and I really don't think that having your bike a little bit higher or a little bit lower is really going to make a great deal of difference to that. Now, that's just my personal opinion. You know, I know people have got, you know, greatly different opinions on this subject. So yeah, that's my personal opinion based on what I know, working with motorcycles, working on bicycles. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get on with it and see if it really does make a difference. And I'm going to show you a way to measure, to check before you even purchase the shock absorber, to see if it's going to cause you any problems. Okay, so this is Dangerous Brian. I built this bike to do all the stupid stuff that you really shouldn't be doing on a bicycle in the first place. You know, all the rough, harsh trails and loose trails that you'd think twice about hiking down, let alone biking down. He's working out pretty well, and what I've done is the obvious modification is it's an e-bike. It's got a small little battery on just to get us up the trails, and that it's got a range of about 20 kilometres. And I've done various other quite a few modifications on this bike. What I'll do is I'll link in at the end of this video the sort of playlist of modifications, and then you can have a little skip through that if you feel like it. So this is a standard shock absorber. Let me quickly grab the other one. Yeah, so that's the standard shock absorber. This is the one that we're going to be putting in. As you can see, it's quite a bit longer, if you can see that. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to take some measurements, and I'm going to show you how I've done the measurements to work out that this actual shock absorber is going to fit. It's hard to tell sometimes when you're looking at them, but it's a bit of a relief. There's the old ones quite a bit fatter than this one, so a bit of a concern was having these, you know, the sort of this part here, this drum here, sort of clearing the battery. But it doesn't look like that's going to be a concern. Okay guys, so the first off, we're going to get the shock absorber off. As usual, it's going to look like I'm working a bit keck-handed because I'm sort of trying to stay out of shot of camera and show you what I'm doing. So really it's just a case of removing this top bolt. Lower bolt. Okay, and we're off. That's simple. Okay, so these two shock absorbers are off. Like you see, quite a bit of difference there. Already come across one problem. I was hoping this was going to be one of these ones where you've got sort of a tube, a shim that goes down the inside of there, and these are bushes on top, and I hope we'll just be able to swap them off this onto this one. That isn't the case, so it looks like we're going to be ordering new parts. But anyway, we'll carry on and keep measuring the clearances, and then we'll come back to this again when I've got the new parts. So as you can see on this bike here, we've got it on the fully lowered position. Obviously on this design, the wheel hitting the seat isn't an issue, that's fully down, and the actual wheel hitting the seat tube isn't an issue because this sort of crossbar here is hitting it now. So what we're going to do is a little bit of math here. Fully extended, fully contracted, the shock absorber is going to be 55 millimeters. That's how much play there is actually in this shock absorber. 55 millimeters less than 200 millimeters. So I get that 145 millimeters. So as long as we've got more than 145 millimeters between here and here, this shouldn't be hitting when we're bottoming out on the shock absorber. So I'm on here with a steel rule. Going to try and measure centre to centre of these holes, which is 130 millimeters. So we're well in there. Let's quickly try and get something in between here to hold this up until we've got it to 145, so we can see what it's going to be like when it's fully contracted. Okay, so as you can see, we've got this block of wood here. We've got sort of this space between here because that block isn't tight against this crossbar here. That distance from there to the tube, to the seat tube, when this is at 145 millimeters. I'm not sure if you're going to see that, but take my word for it, that is spot on 145 millimeters, centre eyelet to centre eyelet. So that is the position with the seat fully down, with the new shock absorber fully contracted. That is the clearance we've got. So we've got this clearance here. Obviously, yes, that's going to slacken your cables off, but nothing major, I don't think. I think that's going to be fine. So yeah, as far as we can see, there's going to be no clearance issues when it's fully contracted. So let's move it to fully extended now. Okay, and I've just twisted that block of wood in there, that's jammed in there, and that is exactly on 200. Put this centre up to there. That is exactly 200. We can see there's we've still got all the clearances here just the same. There isn't too much tension on the cable, just something you need to look out for. and it's basically because it's longer. There's nothing really changed too much. If you look at the stance of the bike, doesn't look particularly altered on that. Okay, I'll just quickly grab the old shock absorber. We'll try that in just to give you some bit more of an idea there of the difference. So that's centered on the hole there, and you can see that is the difference. It's got quite a bit of difference there. I mean, it's meant to be 15, but it's probably more like 20 actually. Okay guys, so it looks like we was going to have a fail today, but I've managed to pull it back. I managed to get a little tiny shim out of the inside of the new shock absorber. I've measured across these two. They're more or less the same within a fraction of a millimetre, and I've managed to get these old ones out of the old shock absorber, and it looks like they're going to fit into the new shock absorber. So it looks like we're going to be good to go. Okay, so that's new shock absorber. The old sort of spacers, I've pressed them back in there with a vice. I hope they're going to work because I don't think they're coming out again. Let's get it back on the bike and see what we've got. There we go. Fits lovely. So a bit of thread lock on these bolts and we'll get it back together. Okay, so that's that fitted now. We're not sure obviously how it's going to ride. We're going to have to test it, and I'll get back to you guys on that and actually do a review on this little shock here. This, by the way, is meant to be the latest model. It's going to adjuster on here instead of around the ring of here. I've got to learn all about the shock absorber because I've got no instructions with it, so that's going to be the biggest job, you know, not actually fitting it, but learning how to use it. 2 valves to adjust things here, and then this here is a lockout. And then obviously this is probably a stiffness adjuster here. I don't know, but I can have a good play around with that. The only real problem I've sort of found slightly, if you're forced to be sort of particular, is this cable's now a bit tight. Now I intend to extend that anyway because I think I've left that a little bit short at this end. You know, I'd like to extend that across to here a bit, and you know, a bit more of a curve in there, and then I'll extend it a bit more for here. Now technically it's not really a problem because obviously once you've got the weight of the bike on here, then obviously these instantly slacken off these cables. So yeah, it's not really an issue, but I think just a little bit of tension there. So yeah, I think we'll put a new cable in. So I think that brings us to the end of the video. I hope I didn't offend the like loonies out there. It's all done in good taste. There's no malice in it, so don't worry. So I think all that remains is thank you for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.